So the second day of percents is learning how to solve percent word problems. So we're going to start with some interest questions. For example, if you deposit $800 in a savings account and it earns 1.5% interest per year, how much interest will you have after 5 years? So our first step is to convert the percent to a decimal. So remember, yesterday's lesson we learned that a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. So when we convert our percent to a decimal, we divide it by 100. Essentially, when you divide by 100, you move the decimal 2 places to the left. So 1.5% equals 15 thousandths, or 0.015, as a decimal. Step 2, multiply your money by the decimal. So again, as a reminder, this is the 1 unit you can use a calculator on. I'm sure I did not need to remind you of that. So we take our decimal times the $800, and that gives us 12. $12 per year is the amount of interest that our money earns. And then we need to make sure that we're answering the question. The question is, how much money do we earn after 5 years? So if we earn $12 per year, we take that and multiply by 5 to get $60 in 5 years. One more interest one, same thing, convert the percent to a decimal. So taking 7.25%, moving the decimal 2 places to the left. Step 2, multiply by our money. And we get $362.50. Make sure, since this is money, if you do get a decimal, when you multiply, that you round to the nearest penny. So you wouldn't put 362.5 because that's not how we represent our money. All right, now answer the question. In this case, we're putting this money in a savings account for college. So how much interest will the account earn by the time he goes to college? So if we're earning $362.50 in interest per year, typically kids head off to college when they're 18. So we're going to multiply this by 18. And we get $6,525, and that's just the interest. Added on to the initial $5,000 that was deposited, you have $11,525 ready for your college bills. All right, next we're going to take a look at how percents work when we're looking at sales. So you'll see that a lot in the store, 35% off, 50% off, 20% off, and how do you figure out what you're going to pay when you go to check out? So the first thing that you have to do when you're looking at a sale is determine the correct percent. If these jeans are 35% off, that's the amount that you don't pay. So if our question is, what are you paying? We're paying the other 65%. Where did 65 come from? Well, 100% of the cost minus the 35% we're not paying is the 65% that we do pay. So we're actually going to be using 65%, not 35%. We'll convert our percent to a decimal, move it 2 decimal places to the left, multiply by our money, it costs $55. So when we go to checkout, we will pay $35.75. And in this case, once we multiplied, that did answer the question. That's the amount we'll pay, that's our sale price. Last one. This time we're buying items from a website and we're marking them up to sell them. In this case, the correct percent is we're not selling them for 40% of what we paid for. We're marking them up by 140%. So we're going to charge the full $15 that we paid plus an additional 40%. So 100% of what we paid plus 40% is where I'm getting the 140% as the percentage that we're going to use to answer the question. Step 2, convert it to a decimal. Move the decimal point 2 places to the left. Step 3, multiply by our money, and we're going to end up selling our item for $21. Finally, your you try problem.